This episode was written by The Gravelstone. If you like this video, check out his quality Instagram for more short music reviews. On September 13th, 1996, tragedy struck. While driving with his manager Suge Knight, Tupac Shakur was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. What made this event all the more tragic was the subject matter of Shakur's music. Pac frequently discussed death and the violence within his community that led to it. While these themes are present throughout the majority of his extensive catalogue in songs like So Many Tears and Only God Can Judge Me, the track that best personifies Pac's views on death is the track Life Goes On from his final album, All Eyes on Me. The song begins with its connective tissue, the hook. Pac asks how many of his brothers have fallen victim to the streets and tells them to all rest easily because he knows there's a place for them. He goes on to describe how he's thought of death and the friends it's taken from him. He reflects on how, in the wake of all the loss in his community, that he and his friends are the last of their kind left. He ends the hook by saying, "Life goes on." This line and the hook as a whole will shift meanings throughout the song based on the verse that precedes it. After the hook, Pac begins his first verse, which paints a dark and tragic picture of death. He tells the story of close friends passing and how he tried to hold on to the memories that he shared with this person after their death. The verse portrays Pac as a weary person from all the loss he's experienced, and he's trying to drown out this pain with alcohol. This contextualizes the hook as Pac is thinking of suicide, mourning his lost friends and reflecting on the loneliness and emptiness that he feels in their absence. The second verse mirrors the first closely since it also tells the story of a lost friend. This friend was locked up in prison and died there, leaving Pac to care for the family and friends he left behind. However, Pac changes his tone on death in this verse, telling his lost friend to rest easy and not worry, because even though he's gone, Pac will help and continue to preserve his life and memory. The verse ends with Pac telling his friend that he got his name tattooed on his arm so that he can always keep a piece of him alive eternally. This is an important part of Pac's philosophy on death, since he believes that the key to preserving someone's existence is to retain a piece of them in your own life. Following the verse, there is a reprisal of the hook. In the context of this verse, the hook shows Pac admitting that he's mourned over friends lost, but it's also acknowledging his responsibility as one of the last ones left to not focus on their loss, but instead keep those they loved and their memories strong. Because life goes on, even though they don't. After this second verse, Pac dedicates the song to his real-life friends who have died due to the violence in his community, Kato and Mental. This connects to the interpretation of the hook through how Pac is very literally keeping the memory of his friends alive within the song by dedicating it to them. In Pac's final verse of the song, he brings all the ideas he's presented so far into a conclusive opinion on death. He reflects on his own funeral, but with his newfound realization that the memories of those lost live on forever. He embraces death with a positive attitude. He says that at his funeral, he wants there to be a celebration of life so that all those that he's made an impact on can keep him alive eternally. He also makes reference to death as a freeing experience that will allow him to escape the troubles of everyday life and reunite with those he's lost. The verse gives the hook the connotation of Pac telling his lost friends to rest in paradise, while he'll stay on earth and spread their memory to others until he is one day reunited with them. He claims that mourning for those he's lost is foolish because without them it's his responsibility to remind others of their lives, not their death. At the end of his final verse, Pac asks the question, how long we mourn. This connects to the question in the hook of how many brothers have fallen victim to the streets. The answer to Pac's question in the hook is to many. And like in the hook, Tupac answers the question about how long lost friends are mourned too long. This answers perfectly and encapsulates Pac's view on death. He believes that it's foolish to mourn friends lost, such as all the brothers he's seen fallen victim to the streets, because by keeping their memories present, they can become immortal in the minds of others. While Tupac contextualizes his specific opinion on death for his own environment, the idea he presents stems from cultural traditions that span centuries. Tupac came from a long line of Black Panther activists who found and focused on the preservation of African cultural traditions. This instilled Pac with many African views, such as his opinion on death. According to the Indian Journal of Palliative Care, Africans ordinarily do not encourage the contemplation of death or any discussion about their own or their loved ones' deaths. Thinking about the African belief system, life does not end with death but continues into another realm. This directly aligns with Tupac's views on death in this song. He knows that his absent friends will live on in another realm and in the minds of those they impacted forever. Life Goes On as a song serves as Tupac spreading the African view on death to those who don't know about it and shows how it's beneficial in the process of loss for anyone. So then, in many ways, Tupac achieved just what he speaks of on here through his own death. Today, Pac is not mourned but remembered for his art, personality and ideas. As Tupac did for his fallen friends, the fans of Tupac celebrated his achievements and made him a truly immortal artist that still remains as well known today as he did over 2 decades ago, allowing his life to go on even in his absence.